Sold over 250,000 albums and easily carry the title SA's greatest rock export. Their music has been described as touching the heart, body, mind and soul. Ladies and gentlemen, Just Jinjer!
Hi, it's Ronnie here, Allbang and Strumit. This is the second episode of what we're doing with the guys in Johannesburg initially. This is Just Jinjer's two main guys here. The third one still in Cape Town. Huh?
Yes.
He's still living there.
Yeah, for now, yeah.
There's Brent and Denholm. I mean, what can I say? First of all, I mean, I suppose I better start with Brent because we go way back. You know, I mean, you might not realize it, but that's, what, 89, 1991? Because we're out of there in 92.
I was a teenager then.
I've got pictures in here somewhere of you with long hair and a big duffel coat. It must have been winter. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe you lived in there. I don't know.
I got my text bars in there.
Yeah. And the situation where I brought up just now, where he brought me a tape and told me I must watch it because he's been practicing. You know? Look at him now.
VHS.
With VHS, I know it was. Yeah.
That was actually an old trick of Brent's. I think I remember watching Brent when basically before it was Just Jinjer.
Yeah.
Him and Vernie and Tux had like a trio that were doing cover gigs, and I was in a band called The Kids when I moved up to Johannesburg.
Oh, that's right. From
Yeah.
East Rand.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
What was his name?
Icky.
Vicky. Oh.
Yeah, and then they heard about me in Cape Town. Then they brought me up here when I was 13, and Brent was in a dance band called Walk This Way.
I remember walking.
So
Mela was
yeah, so we used to play in the afternoons and they used to play in the evening. So I would stick around and watch him, and I was always like watching this guy, and he had like these crazy fast hands, and then for a while I think Walk This Way broke up, and our paths didn't cross, and then suddenly this band was getting a lot of talk, you know, from Sun City, and they were gigging around and they were doing Foxes on Sundays and they were doing all sorts of stuff. And it was basically him and Vernie, you know, and Tux, what would become Just Jinjer.
Yeah.
And I remember one night I'm at Chillers, when Chillers was still going in Randburg, and I'm standing on like a balcony watching the band, and the band takes a break. And I'm just hanging around, and the next thing, like, Brent's standing next to me, and he puts a Jeff Porcaro videotape in my hands. He's like, check this out.
Yeah, there seems to be a thread here, man.
Yeah, totally. Just like Santa's little helper, just handing out VHSs. Yeah, check this vibe out. And I was like, I didn't think that he'd even remember me or that I was a drummer. And I was like, how does he remember?
At one point, we were all busy at that point because there was so much going on. And he would turn up everywhere. I mean, it was never. I mean, I was playing with the Diamond Dogs, and you'd be at the Roxy Rhythm Bar or someone like that. It was always good to see him. But I mean, he was always there. Did you sleep?
Yeah, I was a very hyperactive, very enthusiastic, text bar eating drummer with lots of stuff in my bag, and I was obsessed with Jeff Porcaro.
Yeah,
just the way he could play any genre and make it feel as comfortable as he did. I guess that's why it was so in demand in the studio. But I remember going to, when I was in Walk This Way, I used to have my little Golf, two-door Golf L. I used to finish the gig, late night hours at Broomer Lake or something, put my Pearl kit in the back of the car, load it up, hit Rocky Street.
Yeah.
And just go jam with the bands, Talking Heads, Dylan's, all these venues, and just go set up and play with the guys.
Yeah.
And it's almost like a scene that isn't there anymore. Which is
Rocky Street was amazing. I mean, that particular scene, there have been others, but Rocky Street and to a point, Melville. There was a couple of clubs in Melville where there was people playing all over the place, and there was a lot of crossover. There was a lot of I remember watching the guys from Ballyhoo walking in after their gig in Rocky Street and Stuart getting up and singing. There was a lot of that going on. I don't know if it still is, personally, but there was so much other going on. You could land up in town with some of the original bands, you know. I mean, but it was always good. It was, with the shop in Hillbrow, we ran the roost there at that one point because I mean we were in the Brow and most of the people lived in the Brow or in that area.
Hillbrow was buzzing.
Yeah, I mean, in Hillbrow and town, when I first came up to Joburg, I got a book that states that there was over 200 live gigs between Joburg Park and town and Hillbrow. You'd be lucky it was 200 gigs in Joburg now.
Yeah, I know.
Or in South Africa.
I could be from 2-piece to 10-piece. But every hotel, every place that was big enough to put an act on stage
Had to have a live band, yeah.
had a live act going on.
It's the magical days before the internet, before people had entertainment in their homes. They had to go out and find it.
No,
There was nothing to. If you sat at home,
hardly any TV. You're
there was
right.
no TV. There was nothing to do at home. So you went out. Now people are like, you can sit in your underpants on your couch and watch Coldplay live, streaming from anywhere in the world. Yeah, in the comfort of your fishnet vest, eating a bowl of ice cream.
Ice cream.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I'm obviously a little bit later. In my adult gigging years, the closest I ever got to experiencing that was the Randburg waterfront. That was a bit of a micro scene. Any night of the week, you could go and watch 6 different acts:
you could
Bertie's,
walk up,
Firkin,
Morgan's Cat.
Waterfront Arms. All those places had band. I mean, I used to go watch them all the time.
I used to stand at the window because you'd be playing almost to your back to the window.
Yeah, Firkin.
Yes.
I don't know if you remember that, but he'd be doing a little bit of acrobatics, and I used to stand and go because he's that's what acrobatics like.
Yeah.
That was cool. That's where Jinjer started doing. We went from being a band playing covers to like we want to take our original music a bit more seriously. Not that we took it seriously, because from the name to recording the albums, we never seemed to spend time. It was just having fun.
And that was also an area where you found out what was going on. If you were unhappy or not even unhappy, but you go and jam with other guys, and all of a sudden you get the call. Listen, we are looking for a bass player,
Totally.
for a drummer. That culture, as you call it, was how you there were certain places. Plum Crazy was a very famous place where the musos used to go.
I heard,
after
yeah.
work.
Yes.
That was where you networked. You might be unhappy or not, but you found out what was going on.
Yeah.
The band was looking for a drummer, so all of a sudden you were standing at the bar next
Yeah.
to the guy.
Yeah, this round's on me, guys.
Or you find out who was, the guy's getting fired because he drinks too much. Or
Of course, like
But Hillbrow Records was, and Hillbrow in general, Fontana and Maybe it was like a people. I mean, I didn't even have a car when I first started going to Hillbrow watching bands. To catch a train to town from Edmonton.
Imagine that.
Yeah, and go watch a movie or go to Hillbrow Records. You got your, I don't know, Nick Kershaw record, Victoria, whatever it might be, and you go over Fontana or whatever. You get back on the train, and the last train's at 2 a.m. You miss that one. Your next one's at 5. Many a day lying in the seat waiting for the next train.
I'm leaving tomorrow, and I don't know.
how long were you in America? So? I mean,
6.5 years. So yeah, We were-
mainly where?
we went to Virginia. We were put there by Capitol Records. We had a development deal there. They put us in Virginia with the idea of the Dave Matthews story. We can go there to the East Coast, do the college circuit. But we didn't have anyone booking us gigs in the college circuits. We had one gig that William Morris booked us, which was in a library. It was a great story.
Literally a
We
library.
had done a gig at the Dome, in Joburg, 18,000 people.
With
Almost
counting
all
with
that.
Counting Crows.
And live, and then went literally 2 weeks later, did a gig at a library. 4 people were doing their homework, telling us to keep quiet. They booked us there. William Morris
There
booked
wasn't-
us in the library. We thought it was a joke.
There was no space. I sat on Brent's bass drum playing bass that gig.
Yeah.
We thought it was, if ever there was like a Spinal Tap moment, there was that one, and there was Ocean Avenue Brewery, which was in Laguna Beach also, which we ended up building up. But the first gig was like a couple of waiters doing Father and Father, tumbleweed going down, and it started
And
building
the
up.
waiters like asking you like in between songs, you think they're gonna come up to you and ask a request. Like you think, okay, wow, like they're starting to know our songs. Like this is cool. And then they walk up and they're like, can you just announce that there's a chef special? Like it's like scallops and like this like risotto rice. Can you just mention it over the mic, please?
Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
like,
two
what,
price of one.
I don't have to say it over the mic. There's only 2 tables here, guys. There's a risotto special. it's and we had no illusion of going there and claiming it as ours because we had success here. But very few bands can say that they, in a country where like, you know, we multi-platinum selling, 250,000 records in South Africa is a big deal, you know, and we literally went there and played restaurants to build up a following. It's that warrior mentality, you know. It's like, can you do it again? And a lot of people get fearful of like, you know, we've created this thing and we now have something that's tangible. We have success. We have people that support us, that buy the records, that come to the gigs, that wear the T-shirts, and then you go, we're going to go and try and replicate that in the biggest pond on earth.
3 years in London as well before that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
almost 10 years we were.
The first year we went there and we were living in pounds but spending in rands. So all the money that we'd accumulated in the first year went down the drain. And then the second year we all said, okay, well, it's time for us to get jobs in London, you know. And we'd all been professional musicians. I mean, my parents are both professional musicians. I've been making music since I was 5 years old. I was touring with David Cromer when I was 6. So I'd never had a job. I'd never had to get a job. So Brent was doing like medical trials. Art was construction working. And I was like doing telesales, you know, telling me to sod off. Hi, have you heard about sod off? Yeah, hi, I'm from Just Jinjer. No one cares, you know.
I'm from Just Jinjer. What sort of a stupid name is that?
Yeah.
You've been looking down, but we've all been expecting you. Slap bang.
You get your that Fender bass from, that was actually Shepherd's Bush, I'm thinking. That was
Yeah, I actually.
Oh, from Rick.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I
that's
talk
actually.
to Rick all the time in London.
That's his
I'm
connection.
For 30 years.
It's the weirdest story. Yeah, that's actually a good story itself because we were in Dubai. We were playing a gig in Dubai, and this it's, you know, those Dubai. It's like the old Roxy and Durban residencies. There's like cover bands play in the hotel for like 6 nights a week.
Yeah.
That still happens in Dubai now. And a lot of SA bands go there and they just milk it for dollars, you know. Just Jinjer had a gig there, and after the gig we go to one of these hotels and we're hanging out. I don't know if we were staying there, but I think it was maybe White Rabbit or someone had been playing there. And this guy walks up to me and he's like, we get talking, and he was at our gig, and he says, I'm also here. I'm with another artist that was doing. I think it was Clapton that he was there with.
Yeah, he's a big man.
Yeah, I think he was there with Clapton, but he didn't say too much.
Yeah.
He said, I'm here with an artist, and anyways, I like your band. I like your playing. A guy like you should be playing an old Fender, because I was playing a 5-string Music Man at the time. And he said, you should be playing. And I said, oh man, those things sound like banjos and they sound thin. And I was into like active, you know, you're young, you don't know better. And at the time you think the bigger you sound through your bass amp, the bigger you sound in the PA. But then you grow up and you realize that those frequencies get chewed up by the kick and stuff. And these old basses just sound incredible out. That's just the way it is. It's the way the bass is supposed to sound. But you don't know this when you're 21. So he gives me his card. He goes, if you're ever in London, come give me a shout. So we were living in LA at the time. So we go back to LA. 6 months later, we got a gig at Shepherd's Bush. And I say to Brent, we land, and I say to Brent, you know what? That guy that came to me in Dubai, I've still got his card. Let's just go there. So the first night, we had 2 nights there. The first night I played my Stingray. Next morning we get on the tube, we get our Starbucks, got a backpack, cool, we head down, walking around, and you expecting a music shop, and you're walking and you get to the address and you're like, it just looks like a house. And you walk in and there's just like to die for guitars just on the floor. And I walk in and I say to him, hi, I don't know if you remember me, we met in Dubai, and he goes, oh yeah, the Jinjer, yeah, your bass is there, mate. And he points to this old blonde P bass, and I'm like, oh man, I don't know. And I look at it and it just looks small, and it's got like one pickup, and you know that like, and I remember picking it up and I plug it in and I hit open A, and I just unplugged it. I said, okay,
Heaven's open.
yeah, I'll sell my mom or whatever, you know, like, one of those weird guys, there's no, name your price. And he said to me, oh, it's a 72 and it's a this, it's all original, gave me the whole thing. And he said, and he put it in a carry bag, zip bag, and he goes, off you go. And I said, what do you mean I haven't paid for it? He goes, I know where you are, because he knew we were playing the gig. He said, I'll come to the gig, try it out. And I'm like, no hard case, just soft case. Now I'm hopping on a tube. He doesn't know me. And here I am with this like vintage piece of gear. And he's like, oh, see you later. Like totally chilled. And that night I plugged into the same bass amp through the same PA that we played the night before. And I just spent the whole gig screaming. I just couldn't believe how good this bass sounded. And I saw him standing at the bar and he like cheers me. And
He's confident it's only going to go one way. It's the instruments sell themselves.
yeah. I think it's in Earl's Court. If you come out the Earl's Court tube station and you turn right and you go up this road, there's this sex shop, and at the basement there's this father and son tattoo team, and they were like renowned. These were the guys. The son does the drawings and the father does the tattooing, but like, you know, proper, you know, geezers, you know. So I go there for my first tattoo. I don't know if Brent was with. No, I think I go there for my first tattoo. I'm like 21 or whatever. Now I'm sitting there, and the old man's sitting in front of me, and he says, "You don't move you got to keep your arm straight, because I'm gonna be, you know." So he says, "Put your hand on my leg," because he's now facing me. So to keep my arm straight, I put my hand on his leg. No big deal. Cool. So now I'm in for an hour. So now we start just talking because we've got to pass the time. So he says, what are you doing here? Where are you from? There's that. I'm in a band. What's the band called? Just Jinjer. Zzz. Say what? Just Jinjer. And he takes his shades off. And he goes, are you queer? Now I've got my hand on his leg. And I'm like, my hamster's running I'm trying to do the maths. How is he deriving that my sexual orientation from my... And I say, sorry, I don't understand. He goes, ginger beer, queer, innit? I said, what? And it was like some weird Cockney rhyming slam. Yeah. So he thought we called our band Ginger Beer Queer.